The third time was supposed to be the charm for Jeb Bush in Wednesday's presidential Republican debate. Instead, the former Florida governor failed to deal the knockout blow needed to reassure his supporters amid his struggling campaign. It was his protege, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, who looked like the seasoned politician when Mr. Bush attacked him for his sporadic attendance in Congress. Mr. Rubio was prepared for the criticism and chastised Mr. Bush, which made him look like the elder statesman of the two. The third Republican primary debate was more chaotic than its predecessors, with the candidates often sparring with the moderators, debate host CNBC, or attacking the mainstream media. The two GOP frontrunners, billionaire Donald Trump and retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, didn't speak as often as their rivals, but they also were judged to have mediocre performances in past debates, which have done nothing to stunt their growth in the polls. The latest surveys show Mr. Carson edging out Mr. Trump for the first time in the national race, making the GOP campaign a still unpredictable one. But the picture is beginning to become clearer on the makeup of the top-tier candidates. Predictions of Mr. Trump as a political fad have largely disappeared, and he will be a force in the first GOP primary vote in Iowa in February.
He was such a nice guy, and he said, "Oh, I'm never going to attack." But then his poll numbers tanked. That's why he's on the end, and he got nasty. So you know what?
The Republican campaign has favored political outsiders like Mr. Trump and Mr. Carson. But politicians like Mr. Rubio are hoping voters will still favor Washington experience when the dust settles, and he is expected to get a boost in the polls with his strong debate performance. Fellow Senator Ted Cruz also had a good night and drew cheers when he told the debate moderators to focus on the issues instead of asking the candidates to attack each other.
This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign? Jeb Bush, why have your numbers fallen? How about talking about the substantive issues people care about?
The CNBC debate drew the least amount of viewers out of the four debates so far for the GOP and the Democrats, with about 14 million viewers. But that is still a strong rating for a presidential primary debate, showing voters are paying more attention to this race than past campaigns. The question of who will be the next GOP nominee is still anybody's guess.